I swear I didn't mean to look at her like that until she walked in wearing that dress. It was a Sunday afternoon, the kind where time moved a little slower. The kind of day made for doing nothing in particular. I was sitting in the kitchen, flipping through my phone, half watching the way sunlight slipped through the curtains, throwing long golden stripes across the countertop. It smelled like lemons, cleaning spray, or maybe her perfume. I wasn't sure yet. Her name was Elise. My best friend's mom. 46. Divorce finalized last year. Sharp, kind eyes. Always wore her hair up, like she couldn't be bothered with vanity, but still somehow looked better than anyone trying twice as hard. She had this quiet, magnetic presence. Calm, graceful, like she knew exactly how much space to take up in a room. That day, she came in from the garden carrying a pitcher of iced tea, and I swear the air shifted. She wore a dress I'd never seen before, soft blue, thin straps, the fabric barely brushing her knees. It wasn't tight. It didn't have to be. It moved with her like it knew her. Sunlight hit her collarbone just right, and for a second, I forgot how to speak. She caught me looking, and didn't look away. "You okay, Liam?" she asked, smiling almost innocent. "Almost." "Yeah," I said, voice cracking like some idiot high schooler. Yeah, fine." She poured a glass of tea and slid it across the table to me, her fingers brushing mine. Light touch. No accident. Not this time. We sat in silence for a moment. The ice clinked in our glasses. A breeze slipped through the open window, lifting the corner of her dress just a little, just enough. My heart was beating too fast for no good reason. "I think you've grown up," she said quietly. I laughed, awkward. Thanks." "No, I mean it." Her eyes met mine, level, unflinching. "You're not a kid anymore." There it was. A simple sentence, but it hit me hard. She wasn't talking about college or jobs or anything like that. She was saying she saw me differently, that something had shifted, and she wasn't looking away now. "I probably shouldn't say that," she added, almost to herself. "Sorry." She turned, started to busy herself with something in the fridge, but I saw the flush creep up her neck. I saw her pause for half a second too long. I knew she meant every word, and I didn't want her to take them back. "Elise," I said. It was the first time I'd said her name out loud in weeks. Usually it was just Mrs. Carter, or nothing at all. She didn't turn around. "I've noticed you too," I said. Quiet, but clear. This time she did turn, and the way she looked at me, it wasn't shock. It wasn't disapproval. It was knowing, wanting, maybe even relief. The tension filled the room like fog. Slow, thick, inevitable. Neither of us moved. Her hand rested on the fridge door. Mine was still wrapped around the sweating glass. Then the doorbell rang. We both froze. Her breath hitched. Her eyes darted to mine. Something unspoken passed between us. Something irreversible. She took one slow step toward the hallway, that dress swaying like a pendulum behind her. And just before she turned the corner, she looked back. Not with guilt, not with fear, but with a question, one I already knew the answer to. The doorbell echoed down the hall like a warning bell, and Elise disappeared from view. I heard her voice greet the delivery guy, polite, light, a little too composed. I sat frozen, glass still in hand, pulse still hammering. What the hell was I doing? I'd known Elise since I was 12. She was Ryan's mom, the one who made us grilled cheese sandwiches after soccer practice, the one who picked us up from parties when we got too drunk to pretend we weren't. She was safe, solid, untouchable. But lately, she'd felt like something else entirely. I heard the front door close, footsteps returning. When she walked back into the kitchen, she didn't look at me right away. She set a small box on the counter, a candle, maybe, and smoothed the front of her dress like she needed a distraction. "You're quiet," she said. I didn't answer right away. I was trying to figure out what to say that didn't sound like a line, or worse, like a confession. "You ever feel like—" I started, then stopped. She looked at me then, eyes curious but cautious. "Like what?" "Like you're not supposed to want something, but you do anyway. And it messes with your head because you can't decide if it's wrong or just unexpected." She stared at me, long and steady, then walked to the other side of the table and sat down. "I've felt that way most of my life," she said, "especially when I was married." I wasn't sure she'd ever mentioned him before, not like that, not with weight behind it. He wasn't a bad man, just never really saw me. Not as a person, more like a role. Wife, mother, someone to fold the laundry and keep the peace. She looked past me, out the window, where the wind was teasing the garden again. After the divorce, I thought I'd feel free. And I did, at first. But it's also lonely. People assume when you're my age, you're done wanting things. That you should just settle into comfort and call it a life. She looked back at me then, and her voice dropped. But I still want things. The words landed in the space between us like a slow-burning fuse. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My throat was too tight. And then, so quietly I barely noticed, she reached across the table and placed her hand on mine. Not by accident. Not by mistake. Her thumb moved slowly across my knuckles, like she'd been thinking about doing it for a long time. Neither of us said a word. I thought of Ryan, my best friend since grade school. What he'd say if he walked in right now. What he'd do. I thought about every moment that had led up to this. The long looks, the silences that stretched too long, the way her voice softened around me in a way it didn't with anyone else. I should have pulled away. Instead, I turned my hand over and laced my fingers through hers. She looked at me then, really looked. Not like a mother. Not like a friend. Like a woman who hadn't been seen in a long time. And in that look, I knew we were already too far in to turn back. Liam. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but it snapped me out of the daze. I pulled my hand back. Too fast. I shouldn't have done that, I said. My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. This is messed up. She didn't argue. Just looked down at her lap, hands folded tight. I know, she said. Believe me, I know. The air between us was thick now, electric and wrong and right all at once. I stood up, pacing, heart thudding like it wanted out of my chest. My brain kept flashing images I couldn't stop. Her smile, her hand on mine, the way her eyes had softened like I was the first person to really see her in years. And then, the front door opened. I froze. Elise stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. Mom, a voice called out. Ryan. Shit. My heart dropped. I looked at Elise. Her face had gone pale. She put a hand on her chest like it could calm her racing heart. But it was no use. He came into the kitchen seconds later, backpack slung over one shoulder, grinning like it was just another day. Hey man, he said when he saw me. Didn't know you were here. Yeah, I said quickly. Just stopped by. He gave his mom a kiss on the cheek. She smiled like nothing had happened. But it wasn't the same smile. Had to come back for my charger, he said, tossing his bag on the floor. Totally forgot it last night. Elise moved to the sink, hands shaking just enough for me to notice. She turned on the water and pretended to wash a dish that wasn't dirty. I could feel the heat crawling up my neck, and it wasn't from the weather. Ryan leaned back against the counter and looked at me. You good? Yeah, I said, way too fast. Just tired. You should crash. Stay for dinner. Mom's making that lemon chicken thing. Elise, I said, too formal, too deliberate. I should go. Thanks for the tea. She glanced at me, eyes sharp for a split second. A warning. A question. Or maybe regret. I turned to leave, but Ryan stopped me. Oh, dude. Hold up, he said, digging in his bag. I forgot to give you that flash drive from the studio. It's in here somewhere. I waited at the door, mind racing, and then I felt it, a presence behind me. I turned my head slightly. Elise had followed me into the hallway. Her voice was low, careful. You can't come here when he's around. Not like this. I wasn't trying to, I know, she said. But it's already changing things. Her hand brushed mine again. Just for a second. Just long enough to remind me what we weren't supposed to want. Liam, she said, eyes searching mine. This doesn't go anywhere good. I wanted to say she was right. I wanted to say I'd walk away. Instead, I leaned in, just a breath away from her lips. And then Ryan's voice called from the kitchen. Found it. We jumped apart. She stepped back, expression shattered. I stepped into the doorway, pulse hammering. And nothing had ever felt more dangerous. Or more real. I couldn't sleep. Not after that day. Not after her hand brushed mine like it meant something. Because it did. Not after almost leaning in. Not after feeling her breath on my skin and knowing exactly how close I was to crossing a line I could never walk back from. I told myself it was over. That I'd ignore it. That I'd avoid her. But a week later, I was standing at her front door again. No invitation. No reason. Just need. I knocked once. My chest was tight, palms sweaty. I nearly turned and left. Then the door opened. Elise stood there in jeans and a simple white tee, hair down, barefoot. Not dressed up, not playing coy, just her. Real. And somehow that made it worse. Liam, she said, blinking like she wasn't sure I was real. What are you doing here? I don't know, I said. She stepped aside, You should come in. I did. Quiet. Careful. Like walking into a memory I didn't want to ruin. We stood in the living room, not touching, not speaking. And then she broke. This is killing me, she said, voice cracking. You're Ryan's best friend. You're 23. This should not be happening. I know. But I think about you. More than I want to admit. She turned away, breathing hard, hands on her hips. I should have left. I should have let her have the space to breathe. But something in me snapped. You think I don't feel it too? I said, louder than I meant. You think I can sleep? Eat? I can't even look at him without feeling like I'm lying. She turned. Her eyes were glassy, wild. Then why are you here, Liam? I stepped closer. Because I've tried staying away, and it doesn't work. Because I want to forget you, and I can't. Because I see you everywhere, even when I close my eyes. She shook her head, like she couldn't bear it, like it hurt to hear. I'm not good for you, she said. I'm older. I have baggage. And if he ever found out, don't, I said. Don't talk about him right now. Her lips parted like she was going to protest. But she didn't. Instead, her eyes locked on mine, full of fire and fear and something too deep to name. I reached out slow, cautious, and touched her cheek. She didn't pull away. My thumb traced the line beneath her eye. Her hand found my wrist, not to stop me, but to hold me there. We stood like that, suspended in a breath that felt like it could go on forever. I want you, I said. Her breath caught. I've wanted you since the day you wore that damn blue dress. And just like that, the distance between us disappeared. Our faces moved closer. Closer. Lips just inches apart. The front door slammed. We both flinched. Mom. Ryan's voice called out. You home? Elise stepped back like she'd been burned. My heart was a war drum in my chest. We stared at each other, wrecked, trembling. And then, she whispered the one thing that tore me in two. Don't let him see you. I barely made it out the back door. Slipped through the side gate, heart slamming, breath tight in my throat. Elise stayed behind, pulling herself together for her son like nothing had happened. Like we hadn't almost ruined everything on her living room rug. I told myself I'd lay low, that this had to stop. But I didn't even make it 24 hours. The next night, I got a text from Ryan. We need to talk. No emojis. No context. Just that. My stomach dropped. When I got to his place, he was already waiting outside. Pacing. He didn't look angry. He looked confused. Hurt. I saw you, he said, the second I stepped out of my car. I froze. Saw me what? Don't bullshit me, man. His voice cracked. Yesterday. At my house. Through the kitchen window. You and my mom. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. He laughed, but there was nothing funny in it. I thought maybe I was crazy. Maybe I imagined it. So I asked her. Silence. She didn't deny it. Everything inside me collapsed. I didn't mean for it to happen, I started, but he cut me off. When? How long? Why? I tried to explain, to say there wasn't some plan, that it just became. But every word sounded pathetic. There was no version of this that didn't make me look like a traitor. You were supposed to be my best friend, he said, voice trembling. You slept at my house. You called her Mrs. Carter. We didn't, I hesitated. It's not like that. We haven't, don't, he snapped. Don't insult me by pretending it's innocent. And then he dropped the bomb. She's moving. My head jerked up. She didn't tell you? He said, jaw tight. Figures. What do you mean? She's selling the house. Going to live with her sister in Portland. Said she needs a fresh start. Said she's made too many mistakes here. The words hit me harder than any punch. She's leaving. I asked, stunned. Ryan stared at me. What did you think this was? Some secret love story? She's 46, man. You're just a face. No, I said, quiet but firm. He shook his head. You don't know her like I do. And that was the worst part. He did know her. Better than I ever could. Every scar, every defense, every time she'd chosen silence over conflict. Of course she'd run. Of course she'd rather vanish than stay and explain this to anyone. I didn't mean to hurt you, I said, but I meant every second of it. He just stared at me, then turned and walked away. I didn't follow. Instead, I got in my car, drove around the block 4 times before I found the courage to park outside her house. Her lights were off. No answer when I knocked. Then I checked my phone. One new message from Elise. Don't come back. Please. And that was it. Not goodbye. Not I'm sorry. Just please. Like she already knew if I walked through that door again, she wouldn't be able to stop me. I stood on her porch for too long. My hand hovered over the doorbell, heart pounding like it was trying to drag me backward. Her message echoed in my head, "Don't come back. Please." But I was already here. I pressed the button. No answer. I knocked. Still nothing. Finally, I stepped back, ready to leave, when the door creaked open. Elise stood there, barefoot again, wrapped in an old cardigan like she hadn't slept. Her eyes were red, face bare. No mascara, no games. Just her. "You shouldn't be here," she said, voice hoarse. "I know," I said. "But I had to be." She leaned against the frame like she needed it to stand. "I told Ryan I was leaving, that it was over. I thought that would stop this." "Did it?" I asked. She looked at me, lips tight, chin trembling, then shook her head once. No, we stood in silence. Every breath felt loaded. Fragile. "I can't be the woman who ruins things," she whispered. "Not for him. Not for you." "You didn't ruin anything," I said. "This wasn't planned. It just happened. And now I can't unfeel it." Her eyes welled up. "You think I don't feel it too? Liam, I wake up thinking about you. I hate it. I hate how much I want you. Then don't lie about it." "I'm not." I took a step closer. She didn't move. "I get why you're scared," I said. "This is messy and insane, and the timing couldn't be worse. But it's real. You know it is." She looked up at me like she wanted to believe it, like it might hurt less if she just said yes. Then she said the one thing I wasn't ready for. "I loved someone once," she said. "Before Ryan's dad. Before the safe choice. He made me feel alive. But I let him go because it was easier to be who the world expected. And I've been sleepwalking ever since." She paused, swallowed hard. "You woke me up." That hit me deep, somewhere under the ribs. I didn't speak. I just stepped forward and wrapped my arms around her. She folded into me like she was breaking apart. No kiss. No heat. Just two people trying to hold on to something before it slipped. "I'm still leaving," she whispered into my chest. "I need to." I nodded slowly. "Okay. But I want to see you. Once more. Just as us. Before I go." We stood there, holding each other like the walls could fall and we wouldn't care. Later, I'd wonder what that meant. Whether we'd meet again, whether this was the beginning or the end. But in that moment, it didn't matter. There was no plan. No promise. Just the truth, finally spoken. And the way her fingers gripped the back of my shirt like she didn't want to let go. I met Elise one last time before she left. She asked me to come late, after Ryan had gone back to campus, after the movers had taken the last box. The house felt hollow, stripped down to its bones. No curtains, no framed photos. Just shadows of a life she was done carrying. She wore no makeup. Her hair was loose. No dress this time, just jeans and a sweatshirt. Simple. Quiet. Still, she looked beautiful. "I didn't pack everything," she said softly. "Some things I just let go of." I helped her take one last walk through the place, room by room. The kitchen where we first started losing control. The hallway where I almost kissed her. The living room, still echoing with silence and what-ifs. We didn't talk much. Words felt too small for what we were both trying to hold. Finally, in the driveway, as the last light faded behind her, Elise turned to me. "Liam, I need you to know, I never saw you as a mistake. Even though it was wrong?" She paused. Thought about it. "No, not wrong. Just impossible." I nodded. "I loved you," I said. "I still do." She didn't cry. She didn't try to fix it. She just stepped forward and pressed her forehead to mine. "And I'll carry that with me," she whispered. "But we have to let it go now." There wasn't a kiss. No cinematic goodbye. Just the long, aching silence of two people brave enough to feel something they weren't allowed to keep. She got in the car, pulled out of the driveway. I watched her taillights disappear down the street like the end of a dream I didn't want to wake up from. And that was it. No texts. No calls. Just space. I saw Ryan a few weeks later. He didn't bring her up. I didn't either. We talked about work, about music, about anything but her. We weren't the same, but we were trying. And maybe that was enough. As for me, I moved out. Got my own place. Threw myself into writing, late nights, anything that kept my mind off the ache in my chest. But every now and then, I'd catch a glimpse of a blue dress in a crowd. A laugh that sounded like hers. A moment that made it all rush back. And I'd smile. Because it happened. Because I felt something real, even if it ended. And not everything real gets to stay. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Tell me, should it be forbidden love again? A hidden affair? Something darker? Or something softer? I'm listening.